The next thing we need to understand is again about the materials, and it is about issuance or issuing material to production hall. Okay. And it is about dealing with the confusion that at what rate you should be sending or issuing the material to production hall. Now what is that confusion? Now suppose you bought 100 units at $90 per unit. That was the price of it. After a few days, the price can change, we know that. You have bought another 240 units at $60. Alright, so I was saying that suppose you have made these acquisitions, and this was done by 1st July, okay, and the second acquisition was done by 10 July of the month. Let me just make it more presentable. So these were the dates when you bought these units, and then the other acquisition was made by 20th of July. Okay. And now suppose by 5th July you issued 80 units to production hall. Okay. Now when you are going to issue these units, these 80 units to production hall, it will not be a problem for you because you will be issuing and you will be charging $90 per unit for the 80 units to production hall. Now the problem starts when you are going to issue the second installment of the goods. Suppose by 15 or 14 July you have transferred further of 150 units to production hall. Now the question is how these 150 units are sent. I mean, out of what are you sending these units? Is it out of these 240 units alone? Or is it like 130 units from 240 units and 20 units from what was left from the first acquisition? And secondly, what will be the charges? I mean, will it be charged at $60 per unit? Will it be charged at $90 per unit? This is a confusion. Okay. When you are going to calculate your material cost, you need the cost at which you have bought the material. But the problem is you don't know out of what installment you are issuing how many units and what rate to use. So in order to cater these confusions, and this is quite a big one, we have devised different techniques for us. Okay. And 3 of the renowned techniques we have are FIFO, which is first in, first out. Second one is LIFO, which is last in, first out. And then we have the AVCO, which is average value of cost. Now let me give you a very brief introduction of these 3, and then I will be looking at each of these in detail with you. In, first out, as the name is suggesting, whatever comes in first will be issued to the production hall first. And then if you need more, then you will be taking the units from whatever you have afterwards, or in the latest, or whatever comes after that. But in case of LIFO, whatever latest units you have received, you will be issuing the material from that. And if you need more units to be issued to the production hall, then you will be going to any previously bought units. So that means in LIFO, you will be charging for the latest goods first, and then once you have consumed that package and you still need to issue more units to the production hall, you will be going to the older packages you have bought. But in case of average value of cost, you will be taking the average of the costs, not specifically the rate of any particular package, and on the basis of that average cost, you will be charging the issuance or the goods issued to the production hall. Okay. Now let's understand that how the records are kept under these situations with these three methods, one by one. Let's take an example. ABC Limited is a manufacturing concern, and for finished goods, they require frequent purchases of raw material, which is then issued to production hall on timely basis as and when needed. Okay. You are provided with the information regarding purchases and the issues made to production hall as follows. Okay. Suppose you are in the month of June, and on June 1, and we are at the moment talking about purchases. Okay. In June 1, you bought 100 units at $65 per unit. Then you bought another shipment or package of materials by 10, okay, and it was for 189 units at $70 per unit. And then you bought another one at June 15, and it was for 150 units. Let's make the other one also at 180 units. Let's have the whole numbers. It was for 75 per unit. Okay, and then you bought another package of goods at June 25, and the number of units that were bought 80 units at let's say, what do you suggest, 80 or 85? 85 per unit. Okay, let's go with that. Okay, this was the information about purchases. Now what about the issues? Issues were made as follows. During June, on 4th of June, like 65 units were issued, and then June 14, like 170 units were issued, and then on June 22nd we issued another like 200 units. Okay, and then on June 29 we issued another package of 90 units. Okay. Required. Prepare a store ledger card or bin card, whatever. Prepare a record of purchases and issues of raw material or material in simple words in accordance with the following methods. Okay, and for that we have FIFO, we have LIFO, and we also have FCO. Okay, let's start with FIFO first. Alright, so this one is for the date, as this document will be based on a chronological order. This is for purchases. This will be for issues, and this will be for balance. Okay, that means the units we will be having still with us in store. Okay, and this is one is for quantity, rate. Then we have the total. We have the quantity, and we have the rate, then we have the total, we have the quantity again, rate, and then total. Okay. All right, let's start recording the transactions. First of all, now remember, we have two sets of information. One is for purchase and the other one is for issues. And as I have told you that this document is going to be based on chronological order. So you will be quite paying attention that at what date the purchases are made and at what date the issues are made. You're not going to record all of the purchases at once and not with the issues also. You're not going to do that. Like, first of all, you record the purchase and then you record the issues. It's not going to work like that. Okay, like on 1st June you have the purchases and the second purchase is at 10 June, but before that you will have to record the issues that you made on June 4th. Okay, that's what I mean. Alright, on June 1 you have the quantity of 100 units. And the rate is 65, and then you have the total of 6,500. Okay, and after buying this, suppose you don't have any other opening stock with you. I will be discussing with you in another question that how are you going to deal with opening stock if you have any. But in this case, I'm keeping things very simple, and at the moment we don't have any stock with us. So whatever we have just bought will be ending up in our store, which is 100 units. Okay, and rate is 65, and this total is 6,500. And that completes the recording of this one transaction. Okay. Alright, so here we have one line. Let me just straighten it up a bit. Cool. Okay, moving on to the next date, which is June 4th. And this is the date when we issued the first number of units, which is 65. So here we have 65 units issued, but what will be the rate of issuance? Well, definitely we have only one type of package which contained 100 units and the rate for which was 65, and the same will be applied here. Okay, so 65 multiplied by 65, what do you get? Where's my calculator? Help! Do you have calculator with you? It is 4,225. Now once you have issued 65 units, you will be left only with 35 units in the store. 65 units are gone into the production hall. And at the rate at which you are keeping these units, which is 65 the total value you are left with is 2,275. Very good. Okay. All right. That completes the recording of another transaction. Let's move on to the third one, which is again about the purchases of 180 units, which we bought at $70 per unit. So June 10, we bought 180 units and the rate was $70 per unit. Okay, now total of this package will be 13,500, right? Okay, once we have bought this package, now what we have in the store, we have 35 units of the old package, which we bought at 65, and the value was 2,275. And now we have another package of 180 units, which we bought at $70, 12,600. Oh yes, the correct amount is 12,600. Thank you. And let's close this up with a margin. Okay. Now the confusion starts. At June 14, we are going to issue 170 units. We have received the request from production manager that he needs 170 units. Now the question is, how are you going to issue these units? Will you be issuing these units out of 180, all 170, or will be issuing 35 of these units and the leftover from 180? Now the answer of this confusion is the method which you are following, and at the moment we are doing this question on FIFO basis, which is first in, first out. Whatever came in first must go out first, and then if you need more, you will be applying another package for making such issues. So 35 will be going out first, 35 for which the rate is 65, total value is 2,275, and the leftover, which is of how much? 125? No, 135. Another 135 units will be issued at the rate of 70. Okay, and for that we have the value of 9,450. Now once we have issued this, we have applied all of this, already been consumed, and out of this 180 we are left with only 45. No, 55. No, 45. Okay, and the value of these units that we still hold is 3,150. Okay, this is what first in, first out is. Let's continue with the question. Here you have a separator. Let's just move it up a bit. Okay, another purchases were made by June 15 for 150 units at 75. Was 150? Oh, at 75. Okay, now the total for this is 11,250. And after buying these units, we have 45 units of previous package. She bought at 70 and value was 3,150. And now we have another one, 150, value is 75. The total we have is 11,250. Okay. Okay, on June 15 we recorded the purchase. Now issues at June 22. Okay, there is a slight mistake in the question. Let me just mend it a bit to make the issues for 150 units, because we don't have these much units with us. So 150 units that we need to sell. Okay, so June 22 we are issuing how many units? 150. So 45 will be applied first. 70 is the rate. 3,150, and another 105 units will be sent out of 75, for which the value is 7,875. Okay, and after making these issues, you'll be left with 45 units at 75, for which the value is 5,625. Okay, all right. The next entry was about the purchase at June 25 for 80 units, 85, and the value for the same is 80 multiplied by 85, which is 6,800. Okay, now after buying this, you have 75 for 5,625 and 80 units at 85, which gives you 6,800 of value. Okay, now after this, the last of the transaction is at June 29 for 90 units, and for that, let's make the recording. We'll be issuing 45 units out of 75, for which the total is 5,625, and another 45 at 85, for which the value is 3,825. Okay, and the number of units you'll be left with is 35 at 85, and the value for this will be 2,975. Now, what is your closing stock? Your closing stock after a month of issues and buying, this is what you are left with by the end of June, and this will be the value of your stock under first in first out method.